Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Why the Miami Heat and Caleb Martin both need Code Red Caleb. Maybe the catalyst for Caleb Martin's remarkable Game 2 performance in the Miami Heat's upset of the number 1 seeded Celtics was the will to ensure he didn't repeat his wretched Game 1 performance. Or maybe it was to mock the Code Red conspiracy concocted by Boston media member Brian Scala Brine after Game 1. For context, Scala Brine claimed Martin's hard foul on Celtics star Jason Tatum with a minute remaining was to lead out a hit called by Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra. There was zero evidence to back up Scala Brine. Either way, now labeled as Code Red Caleb, Martin building off his electric Game 2 has massive stakes. He could lay the foundation for his next contract and be the answer to Miami becoming the first number 8 seed to topple a number 1 seed in back-to-back years. With Jimmy Butler down, the Heat need a role player to fill his void. There could be no better candidate than Martin, who notched 19.3 points on a 48.9% clip from 3 in the Heat's Eastern Conference Finals win over Boston last year. By failing to do that, the Heat could fail to make up the 27 points Butler averaged in the last 2 postseasons. Just look at the stark differences between the Game 1 loss and Game 2 win. In Miami's Game 1 loss, Martin scored 4 points, lowest among all Heat starters, which factored into Miami facing a 31-point fourth-quarter deficit. Furthermore, his 0 for 4 mark from 3 contributed to the Heat ending Game 1 with a paltry 94 total points. This won't suffice against a Boston Celtics which just posted the highest offensive rating, 122.2, of the 21st century. Game 2, however, showcased a different Martin. He scored 21 points, shot 5-4-6 from 3, and the Heat were 15 points better with him on the floor. No shot was more important than the three-pointer Martin hit at the 3-minute mark to seal the victory. "These are the moments you grow up trying to play in," Martin replied when asked about muting a Boo Bird-filled TD Garden. The result was Miami winning 111-101. Though other players stepped up, a 21-point scoring Martin, hopefully more, could be Miami's only route to a historic upset. At least with last year's win of the number 1 seeded Bucks last year, Miami had the luxury of Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo only playing 2 full games. This year, however, Miami has no such luck. All of Boston's best players are healthy. Meanwhile, Miami's roster is saddled with injuries. On top of Butler's knee injury, the high-scoring Terry Rozier, neck injury, has missed the first 2 games of the series with no return date in sight. Which is why 2024 could be the latest example of how excelling against Boston changes the narrative surrounding Martin's career. In the 2022 Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics, Martin's 7.3 points, 3.5 rebounds, and a 46.7% clip from 3 played a pivotal role in him signing a 3-year $20,408,850 contract that offseason. Not bad for someone who signed a 2-way contract with the Heat in the previous September after being waived by a dismal Charlotte Hornets. Then, in last year's Eastern Conference Finals bout with Boston, Martin's 15 points and 25 points at TD Garden in Games 1 and 2, respectively, placed the Celtics in a 2-0 hole. Then, with the Heat facing the embarrassment of blowing a 3-0 lead, Martin uncorked 26 points in Game 7 at TD Garden once again. In doing so, Martin showed that Miami's long-term investment could be a wise one. So, now, entering a contract season next year, Martin must build off Game 2, upset Boston and lay the foundation for a Miami championship. But if that happens, Martin will be forgotten. It'll be all about Code Red Caleb. Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo hailed as best defensive player in the NBA in 2024 by renowned analyst. Bam Adebayo is one of the finalists for this year's NBA Defensive Player of the Year award. Rudy Gobert or Victor Wembanyama will likely take home the trophy, but one NBA media personality begs to disagree. Speaking on the Dan Le Batard show this week, Amin El-Hassan said that Bam Adebayo should at least be considered for the award following his efforts against the Boston Celtics in Game 2 of their best-of-7 series in the first round. "He's the best defensive player in the league, and it's not even close," El-Hassan said about Adebayo. How did they bottle the Celtics' offense in the second half? It was Bam Adebayo as the primary defender on Brown, on Tatum, on Porzingis, even guarding Drew Holiday a couple of times. What made Bam Adebayo's defense more impressive is that he's also contributing on the other side of the court, as he recorded 21 points on 9 of 13 shooting from the field in the 111-101 victory to make up for the absences of Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier. If the Miami Heat ultimately upset the Boston Celtics, it'll likely be on the back of a superb series from Bam Adebayo. So far in the first round, the Team USA center is averaging 22.5 points, 8.0 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game on 61.3% shooting from the field. "Anytime the game gets crazy, they go on a run, we find the ball in Bam's hands," Tyler Herro said about Bam Adebayo recently. "We get him the ball. We know he's going to make the right play or a hole in the defense. To have a guy like that on the team, it's huge for us." Bam Adebayo will most likely not win Defensive Player of the Year this season, but he should be in contention for the award in seasons to come. Kristaps Porzingis' very honest statement about the Miami Heat. On Wednesday evening, the Boston Celtics hosted the Miami Heat in Massachusetts for Game 2 of their first-round playoff series. The Heat pulled off a surprising upset, winning by a score of 111-101. On Thursday, Kristaps Porzingis met with the media and shared a very honest quote about the Heat. "Porzingis, they make us think. They do this on one possession, then they do another thing on another possession, then they switch, then they don't. That can freeze you a little bit, because you start to think a little bit, then you rush a little bit into the next action." Porzingis finished Game 2 with 6 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals and 2 blocks while shooting 1-9 from the field and 0-4 from the three-point range in 30 minutes of playing time. The series is currently tied up at 1-1, and Game 3 will be on Friday evening in Miami, Florida. Porzingis is in his first season with the Celtics and has been an excellent fit playing next to All-Stars Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. The 2018 NBA All-Star averaged 20.1 points, 7.2 rebounds, 2.0 assists and 1.9 blocks per contest while shooting 51.6% from the field and 37.5% from the three-point range in 57 games. The Celtics are the first seed in the Eastern Conference and had the best record in the NBA. Last season, they lost to the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals in 7 games. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Kristaps Porzingis? Leave your opinion in the comments.